Okay. Versatile Vigilante, Young Vince, Uncle Vinny. We are in the fucking presence of a young fashion legend, man. The one and only No Deziner.
It's a pleasure to be here, bro. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me, bro. I'm very, very fascinated with these pieces that we see here. We see some on the table too. Love to dive into that,
Yeah,
but
man.
first and foremost, how's it going, bro? How you
Bro,
living?
it's going good right now. Just coming off some vacation time, so just trying to get back into the groove of stuff right now. Getting back to work heavy. Playing a lot of what I seen back into my work right now. Just taking the time to just relax and just see things from a different type of point of view. I feel like
Yeah,
there's a lot of the same stuff. Going down, going down, going down, and then I just wanted to take a break, and then luckily life just gives you a break sometimes, whether you want it or not, So that was good. It's good to
that's
have a break.
awesome, bro. We were talking before the interview about traveling is awesome, but it's not very relaxing sometimes.
Yeah,
You almost
yeah.
need a break from the break.
No, definitely. And I feels like getting back to the grind is the break from the breaks sometimes. Getting back to what you were doing from before you took a break is feels like the break now. Like coming back to the house, coming back to the studio, coming back to the sewing machine feels like a break from the break that I was already having. So it's good to be back, bro. It's good to be back on the over here. For
Love that.
sure.
And you went to Ecuador, you were saying, and
Yeah.
you're from your family's from there.
Yeah. My mom. So my mom's side is from Ecuador. Yeah, yeah. It was a good time, man. It was my first time being down there. It was good to see where you're from. Sometimes good to see where things started off before you had it here. I'm first generation from two parents of like who are immigrants. Who came to this country. So it's good to see how I have it now. Whether where they had it. So it's good, man. It's good. Grateful.
Shout out to the dogs in the background.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. No,
Love that,
shout out
man.
them, man. Yeah.
No, I feel you on that. Travel is such an interesting thing 'cause I feel it's like one of the most humbling experiences you can ever have, especially if you've never really been there before. Like,
Yeah.
wow, this when I'm at home, I know everything. I know where to go.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you're outside, especially in another country where it's like completely
Yeah,
different.
no, definitely, and especially seeing like, for instance, like a lot of people who aren't from here may have like houses from where they're from, or they left for certain reasons. It just happens to be there where, my family's from. We had nothing. Like when I went to El Salvador, from where my dad's from, like they built their house out of clay and put like tin on their roofs. Like so going back to like the villages and going to see like the kids who have no shoes, who are like playing with sticks and rocks and stuff still. Seeing that is like a big culture shock from seeing what I'm used to seeing out here, or like, just the little stuff, as cliche as it sounds, but like taking the little stuff here for granted, for sure at certain points. And then seeing that that's where, your family comes from, it puts a whole different perspective in mind. It's like, oh shit, like, well, like those kids are like like thriving with that, and I'm here with this. What am I gonna do? What does that say about me? Or like this kid is doing whatever he can to get rid of like those bag of oranges that he has in his bag every single day. What am I doing? So that just puts like a whole different like grind in perspective. That puts a whole different purpose in my work now that I'm bringing. So I'm forever grateful for being able to be back and even have parents who did that and made it out of those spots. Even them as being like, okay, like you were one of those kids that lived here and made it out. So I live with you. What am I gonna do to amount to what you did now? Like I'm here for a reason, clearly. So let me use that to the best of my ability. So it's humbling for sure, bro. I'm forever grateful for that.
I love that, man. And I think that's when you use that travel experience for good, where it's like, oh, I could take something from this and bring it back home
Bring
to
it
my
back.
life.
Yeah.
I feel like I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I wish I was on vacation again. Like, I feel like they're avoiding the real life,
Yeah,
you know?
avoiding the real life.
When you can
Exactly.
bring back some gems with
Yeah,
you and make your
exactly.
real life
No,
even better.
for sure, bro. Like it's different, and there's definitely those times that like to go on vacation and like wild out or just have a good time with your friends and whatnot. These vacations were more like family orientated, and I was more so like traveling with my family and going back and seeing family that I haven't seen before, I haven't seen in like 10 years, over 20 years for like from my family and whatnot. So it's a different type of vacation, but no, it was still very good for sure.
I'm glad to hear that, bro. So, yo, this is your first interview, yeah?
Yeah, man. First interview,
Okay.
bro. It's weird that this is happening because I remember when I first seen your interview's happening. It was the first interview with Moss and
Yes.
Wavy, and that was I don't know how many years that was ago.
Coming up on 2 years
two
ago.
2 years
man.
now, right?
Nuts.
2 years. And that was when I was like slowly starting to creep up into like, not creep up, but like I was like obviously still very, even I am still very new right now, but even at that time I was like extremely new. And I was like, yo, like one day I want to interview, or like one day I want to do, like I wish somebody like looks at me as like, oh, that person's important, I want to talk to him, you know. So
We're
it's
here,
it's cool that this did like a 360 in a way, you know. And I'm happy that it's cool looking back, having that memory at least, you know, being like, shit, like, you know, I wish I could have done that to like, okay, now I'm at this point doing it, you know. It's cool because now it's like, even though I'm still very, very new, I have a lot of those times even where I come into like contact with artists now and stuff like that. It's like, yo, I used to listen to you for so long, and now like you want to wear my clothes and stuff like that. Like, it's cool. It just makes you want to like keep going, you know. It's like, okay, this is like a foot in the right direction, you know. So it's good, bro. I appreciate you having me here. Thank you, man.
Thank you for sharing that. That made my day. Fuck. Go watch that old 10K Moss Wavy
Yeah, no,
Millie
for sure.
interview, man.
For sure,
No,
man.
I appreciate that. And I've seen you from afar too, bro. You're fucking killing it. And I want to get a little bit more of a backstory though of, okay, your main hustle, for lack of a better term, is you're a clothing designer.
Correct. Yeah.
How did that even get started in the first place?
Bro, so it's kind of funny how I got into fashion, because I didn't get into fashion for like almost complete different reasons than a lot of the people who do fashion now. Like, I didn't even know people made clothes and stuff. Like, I didn't know people made brands. I didn't know people like. But at that time, like 3-4 years ago in Toronto, it was still there, but it wasn't oversaturated like it was now. Like, TikTok didn't even exist back then, you know. So it was way different. Thrifting wasn't big back then. People weren't on the baggy wave with the Tims and stuff like that. So it was a different type of like time that I was doing. But honestly, I had a sewing machine like in my backyard, like, sorry, not my backyard, but in my basement for a while. And I remember I just wanted stuff that I almost couldn't afford, for lack of better terms. Like, a lot of my friends were like, you know, like into stuff, like they were getting money and this and that, and then they were wearing all designer stuff, right? And then I'm like, yo, like, you know, it'd be cool to have like the Balenciagas, the Mary Jeans, the Balmains. Like, it'd be cool to have that stuff. Like, I can't afford that, so I'm like, yo, shoot, like, let me try and see what I can make out of the stuff that I have. Like, I just used to cut up stuff in my closet because I wasn't gonna go buy new clothes to like cut it up, right?
You're talking physically cutting.
Yeah, physically cutting like my pants and stuff like that, like different ways, maybe opening like a slit on both sides or whatever. And then that's kind of how I even came up with No Deziner, because the stuff that I was making, I was like, yo, like, you know, fuck designer wear. I'm gonna like, this is No Deziner, you know, like no designer wear. So then that's how that came up simultaneously, the same time that I was just, you know, decide to make clothes and stuff like that. And then it wasn't until after like maybe like half a year or a year into doing that stuff that I realized like there was like a whole like world for that stuff, you know. And that just blew my mind, you know. And then I was like, shit, like you can make a living off this stuff, or like you can do stuff with this, you know. So and then I don't know that. I don't even know how it got to this point, to be honest. But you know, I'm thankful that it did, and you know, doors just opened for me. And then I realized that, you know, not everybody gets those doors open for them. So I was like, hey, I'm doing something here. So let me keep fueling in the fire right now. Let me see what I can do with this. So it was good, bro. It was good. Yeah.
I love that, man. You're definitely making a lot of noise. And when did this even start? When did this empire start?
This empire started about, well, I mean, I started making my brand maybe like taking it serious about like 2 years ago now, 3 years ago. So it's like, it's still like very, very new, like compared to like how long I'm willing to do this for and how long other people do this for, like, you know, like plus 10 years, like, you know, like I'm willing to like stick this out for like the plus 10 years, like, you know. So I'm very, very new still. So only 2-3 years. My first like, I guess, foot in the door for that was doing an event, like a pop-up event at Shakk Diesel. Like, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Shakk Diesel. Yeah, he's somebody who's definitely seen me and, you know, put me in a position. So that was like my first ever like introduction to any, like, my brand, at least. You know, I had a pop-up with him on 1 December, and then after that everybody was like all over my stuff, and I realized that like I had something to offer, you know. And and I remember that night very vividly. I didn't sell a single piece. I remember I was there with like 6 other vendors, and they were selling stuff, but what was different was people were telling me that like people are coming up to your booth but they're not buying anything, but they're buying a lot of stuff that money can't buy. And I was very confused. I'm like, what does that mean? and they're like, people are here and they're having conversations with you, and you're telling them about the work that you're doing and what your brand means and what you feel like you're putting out here right now. They're like, even though a lot of people, even though like maybe people aren't walking out with like pieces, people are walking out here with like a different type of feeling when they're coming to your booth. Like they're having conversations with you, and you know you're enlightening them. And like even like I was talking like artists who were like maybe were rappers, this and that, and it was cool because I had something in common with almost everybody who had something to express. And then after that, I was like, okay, cool, like this can be done, and there's a lane for this, and I can do something here. And you know, that was always like my main purpose for that. Like I just wanted to do something that had some type of importance or significance, you know. So that was like my first like foot in the door, and then ever since then, I just continue to just, you know, hit harder than I did before. You know, that's kind of like what I try to do. So ever since then, I've just been trying to take it off from there. Yeah.
That shows you have a strong mentality, man, because I think a lot of people, if they had said, oh, no, I'm the only one that didn't sell a piece, a lot of them would have folded, man. That would have been the first and last pop up. That would have been, you know, fuck this. I'm going back to doing my normal shit.
Yeah.
You used it as a good, you took a positive out of it. You saw people were paying attention, first of all, and then, yo, let's keep fucking going.
Yeah, no, exactly, man. I never even thought about going in there with selling any pieces, though. Like, to be honest, I didn't even really feel like doing it in the beginning. You know, so again, like my mentality coming into it was different too. Like a lot of people who come into this stuff even now, which is funny because it's ironic how it was back then to how it is now. Like a lot of people are making clothes because they want to blow up and they want to make change like the second day, you know. They want to sell out every single job that they do, but I'm like, that's not the purpose, man. Like that's not how you're gonna make money. Like I remember how I was doing stuff in the beginning was I was like going to artists, going to rappers and stuff like that, and then going to different people and basically giving out my clothes, like almost being like, hey bro, like this is a piece, like this is like, you know, we're on stage, whatever. Like I remember the first time that Shakk Diesel ever hit me up, he was working with T.O.B. Duke, who was in the city, and then I remember I had just dropped like my first collection of masks ever. Right, I unfortunately don't even have one anymore because they actually sold out after that, which was cool. He seen it on Instagram. This was at a time where I was still building my brand. He was like, bro, he's like, I need these. He's like, I can get them to all these artists, and he's an A&R. And I didn't know what that meant, right? Like, to be honest, he was just somebody who hit me on Instagram, and nobody's ever acknowledged my work before. So I sprung to like the opportunity, and like I remember I drove all the way to the city. You know, I had like 6 masks, like 4 shirts and stuff like that. And then I gave them all to him and he made them work. And like, I remember I got a bunch of exposure from like different artists, different A&Rs were hitting me up, different artists were hitting me up. They're like, yo, like I heard you're the guy who makes these masks. Like, yo, this is super sick. Like I want more. My team wants some, this and that. And then that's kind of how that stuff started out. Like I was realizing like, okay, this is the importance of, you know, like maybe I'm not making money off this, but this is the foundation that's going to make me more money in the future, you know? And I always had that like mentality with like, even up till now, like if you have something to offer at the table, like I'm down to work, like, you know, like some like money doesn't have to be a certain thing. Like, you know, like sometimes I gain more off a connection in the long run than I do off like a quick, like a couple $100 for a pair of pants, you know, like a couple, like to me, like I understand it's like hard work, but like, I know that I made a pair of those pants, I can make them again. You know, It's like a connection or having something meaningful with somebody is way different than that. And that means a lot more to me in certain ways. So that's what more I invest in now than what I did before as well.
Brilliant, bro. You're thinking long term.
No, for sure.
You're, you know, short term, a lot of things in today's like stratosphere, lack of a better term, it's short term. Like let's focus on the trend. Pick the topic, bro. It's trend related. For you to have that understanding that no, let's plant a seed here. Let's let it grow.
Yeah, let's water it and let's take care of it.
Let's water it and take care of it. You got a fucking empire brewing.
For sure, bro. For sure. I appreciate that, man. Just trying to just find different ways. You know, definitely, you unfortunately like find like those link ups that don't work, or like, you know, like sometimes you feel like you invested into the wrong thing, or sometimes, and trust me, I had my foot in the hole like from those type of things, or just giving away clothes and it not working, or like say I give something, like I remember like there's times where I give stuff to like an A&R, or like an A&R will hold it instead of giving it to the artist. And I'm like, fuck, bro, like, you know, like that's yeah, you know, it's like the shit that wasn't meant for you, bro. Like that was supposed to go somewhere. But then, you know, it's, you know, it's just living and learning, bro. It's just living. Like now I have those experiences. Now I know like what to look out for and stuff like that. So I never take anything like, you know, you know, like bro, like the hat you have on right now, bro, the No Losses, bro. You know, you don't take any type of No Losses, bro. Shout out to No Losses for real, bro. That's a man of great significance for me, for sure, bro. That man did a lot for me. He was like, I was a rapper before I even made clothes, right? So and then I came into contact with him from the East End. He was really the first guy who bought my clothes. He was the first person who ever bought like a pair of my jeans, you know, and he still has those till this day and rocks them almost at all the fucking things, all the events that we're at, you know. So he was somebody who influenced me like creatively in all aspects. Like he helped me out with my rapping before I was even making clothes, and he seen I was making clothes, he was supporting I was making clothes. Like, you know, man, I have a lot of love for that guy. You know, he's done so much for me, and I'm so appreciative of what, you know, the positions he's done for me, even outside of like, you know, just the fashion and the networking stuff. Just personally, like, you know, he's a one of one, bro. Like, he's helped me out so much. So, you know, shout out No Losses for real, bro.
Shout out No Losses, man. And I met you at his spot,
yeah,
too.
exactly. You know,
he's a very important figure because we need more of that. We need those, even Shakk, these are like community builders, you know, very selfless guys.
No, for sure, definitely, man. They're for the people, they're for the community, and you know, like it's hard to come across those people. So whenever I'm luckily that those are the two people that are like one of the few people that I come in contact with that have been, you know, treating me with respect and like, you know, like had my best interest first, you know. So I'm forever grateful for all those people that are near me, for sure, bro, for sure.
Shout out to them, man. Yo, you sure you're only 20 years old, bro? The hell, right, Kyle? Fuck, man. This is nuts because you're saying things that, like, I'm turning 29 this year, bro. I've just been learning this shit over the last little while, and if I had known this at 20, it would have made my life probably a lot easier, man. And so I'm very, like, when you say these types of things, I said the same thing to Moss too. When you guys say these types of things, it excites me so much because you got you're young, but you got the right fucking mentality, man.
Yeah. And I always say this. I feel like I turned like 21 at like 16. Like, you know, like I felt like I had that.
You're in dog
years.
Years.
Type of exactly, dog years. You know, so, but I'm grateful for that because like I always had older friends. Like even in high school, like, you know, like throughout all my life growing up, all my people were all older. Like even my cousins, my family. All my cousins are all older than me. I mean, like I have like maybe 2-3 that are younger than me, but I grew up seeing my older cousins and my older friends like do stuff and like be around them. So like I feel like that type of energy just rubbed off on me at a very, very young age, and I just felt like I had like not like an advantage in a sense, but like I just felt like I felt like I had to like grow up a little earlier to hang out with like the big guys, you know. Like I'm like, no, I can't be this wimp. Like, you know, like I gotta grow up, I gotta be able to hang out, I gotta be able to do this, I gotta do that because they're doing that, so I gotta do that, you know. So I just didn't, I was that kid who just didn't want to miss out, you know. I was just like, I wanted to be there, so I just had no choice but to, you know, speed up that process.
I like that, man. And it's exciting too because you're gonna be someone's like older homie one day too, you know.
You know, it's funny because I always think about that because I was always younger and had that older homie, and I was always like, yo, like when am I gonna have my young homie that I get to show all the stuff that like, because I remember like it's just a feeling in your stomach when like, I don't know, when somebody who like genuinely like really like, you know, cares for you and like, you know, takes you under their wing and like treats you like their younger brother or like your homie or like just like family in general, you know. And like luckily now I'm surrounded by like only family that I consider to call my family at least. And, you know, I always wonder like, oh, like I wonder when along the road like somebody, or if somebody looks up to me in a certain way and I just don't know it, because maybe sometimes the person I was looking up to didn't even know I was looking up to them the whole time, because I've had those situations which has been like a step back for me, which is like I've had homies who I've looked up to who see me outside doing like my clothing stuff and my business, and they're like, nah, bro, like it's actually the other way around. Like I actually look up to you, and I'm like, oh fuck, bro, like, you know, like that's crazy, you know, that hits me. It's like, fuck, like, you know, I looked up to you my whole life, and now you're telling me you look up to me. So that's like fuck, like, but it's always a good feeling, you know, like that means like, you know, something there is going good.
I agree, bro. I'm very big believer in like the energy attracts the right energy.
For sure.
And when you do things properly, when I say properly, like fucking with a plan, moral, good morals,
Yeah,
you know,
purpose,
principle, purpose.
Yeah.
It attracts people like that, like no losses, like guys that are on that same type of shit.
No.
And then you're unstoppable.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's a big thing for me. Like everything is with purpose. Everything has to have a meaning. Everything, you know, it can't be for no reason. Like, you know, not that anything happens for no reason, but you know, everything I want to like I was saying, the reason why I even started any of this stuff off was because I wanted to represent something that meant something. Like, you know, even that's why I switched the brand like from Star Clips to Lo Siento, you know, because I needed something that meant something for what I was standing for. And I took a step back and I'm like, hold up, this isn't what I stand for, and this isn't why I started making clothes. So let me get back on track and let me do this. You know, some people may see it as a setback sometimes from going like restarting what they had or whatever, but you know, it's never a setback. You know, as long as you're always using what you learned already and then applying that to what you're gonna do next, like, you know, you can't really lose like that. So.
Facts. That's a good segue, bro, because I wanted to talk about your current brand, Lo Siento. Lo Siento Ropa.
Yeah. You got it.
Love that. What's that? Explain. What you said it has got more meaning for you.
Yeah, so for sure. So basically, what it means is, so Lo Siento in Spanish means, the direct translation at least is I'm sorry. Right? The way that I use it is in a term where it's like more like I feel you and I'm sorry, which is like kind of like, to put it in better terms, it's almost like, so when I went back to El Salvador and I seen like the people, or like I went back home and I looked at the humble beginnings that I came from, I looked at my people and I was like, you know, like, damn, like we went through a lot. Like, you know, like my dad, you know, got left the country from a young age for civil war. Like, you know, we got kicked out of the country because of war reasons, like, you know, and then coming back is like an overwhelming feeling. And then also, you know, I went to New York as well, and I seen the Hispanic culture down there, right? And the Hispanic culture down there is insanely huge.
Yeah, heavily
and then
Puerto Rican, right?
exactly, heavily
Yeah.
Puerto Rican, Dominican, Mexican, all sorts, but they're all united, right? And then I'm like, in Toronto, it's like there's a lack of that. Not just Hispanics to begin with, but it's also like community, culture, acceptance. Because in the States, it's like it's not just about being Hispanic. Hispanic communities like united a bunch of different communities. You weren't just Hispanic there. If you were there, like it was just cool to be around. You felt like you were like around good energy and good people. So I wanted to implement that type of community over here, because I'm like, I know there's somewhere. Like, I didn't grow up in like a Hispanic based community. I didn't grow up with like a lot of Hispanic friends at all, right? Or growing up with people who were from where I was from, right? So that's like almost like growing up is kind of difficult because you don't really know where to associate yourself with. You don't really know how to identify yourself. So when I was like came up with the idea of wanting to do that, then I was like, okay, let me dive deeper into this thought. Like, what I want to stand for? And then it was really just like an idea of wanting to pay homage to where I was from, and pay homage to like my family, because that's the biggest thing for me. Like, I'm doing everything I'm doing right now because of them, and without them it would be nothing. So Lo Siento was like almost like I feel you, and like I'm sorry for the hardships that we had to endure and all this stuff. And it's like, but like, you know, here's my gift to you guys, and here's what I'm gonna do because you guys sacrificed all that stuff. So this is my gift, and this is what I'm gonna do for you guys. So that's basically the base meaning of Lo Siento Ropa, and that's what I'm pushing, the motives and the purpose for it.
I love that, man. What's your family's thoughts on what you got going on?
They love it, honestly. Like, especially like the feedback of going back home and showing them what I'm doing and stuff like that is kind of, at first I was kind of scared, because going back home, it's like the only thing there is school, right? And it's like making it in school, and it's like going to college, going to university, and becoming a doctor. Like, the very stereotypical like way to live life is their ideal way to live life. And even here, it was hard to break my parents like mindset of that, but I didn't blame them either. And this is kind of interesting, because I feel like a lot of people who are artists, who whether they make clothes or whether they make music, or, you know, they do whatever they do, it's almost like the barrier, especially if you come from a like immigrant family, it's like the barrier of showing your family that you can do something that doesn't have to do with school. You know, but I slowly, like, I think what helped me the most was realizing that why they prioritize schools is because that's all that they had, you know? So that was their make it out, right? All they had was to get that degree and get that paper and go to work, because that was going to make them the most money, to get money to provide for a family, you know. And then after I understood that, I'm like, okay, like they're actually not upset about what I'm doing. That's just all that they know. So let me show them something different, you know. And luckily, like I've done like a quite acknowledgeable stuff. So it's like I've shown them and proven to them that it's like, okay, I'm doing something more than just talking now, right? Like when I go back home and I show them videos of like 10K Moss wearing my poncho on stage, and they're like, oh my god, like what? Like I like, to them, like that's mind blowing, because they don't even know that exists, right? So when they see like me showing them like a poncho, which the reason why I made a poncho is because it's such an ancestral piece from like back home, and it's like they wear ponchos because it's the weather and it's cold in Ecuador, right? Like the poncho was a homage to my mom, because my mom always wears ponchos in the house whenever she always gets cold, and she always has a poncho on. And it's like I was heavily influenced by that, and then decided to bring that to my work, and then had Moss, somebody like rappers like 10K Moss, go out on stage and wear it in front of like a bunch of people. And it's like that means a lot to me, because it's like people don't know that. People just see a cool piece, but to me it's like you don't understand what that actually means, you know. So when I go back home and I show them that, they're like mind blown. They're like, that's insane. Like now I'm proud, because they get to go to their friends and they be like, oh, I have a cousin from like Canada, Toronto, who has like his like famous artist wearing like our poncho like from here, and that makes them feel important, you know. That makes them feel like they mean, or they have like something like a different type of meaning, or they're like, this is cool, like, oh, we feel cool now, like, you know. That's, as corny as it sounds, to feel cool is just like a spark in your stomach sometimes, you know. It makes you feel like, it makes you feel acknowledged. It makes you feel like you fit in with those type of people that you didn't think that you could sit beside.
Real shit.
So like they're very supportive, man. And that's type of the fuel that keeps me going with a lot of this stuff, you know. I'm very grateful to have that, because I know a lot of people don't. So
no, that's real, man. You made some interesting points. I really like the point of like, kind of no matter where you are, what time period it is, everyone wants to feel cool.
Yeah,
like feeling cool. That's like universal, man.
Exactly. No, it is universal. No matter what, for sure. Exactly. You know, you look good, you feel good. That's something that I feel like will never change, and that was, you know, a reason why I started making clothes. Like, why I even got into a lot of stuff, because I wanted to feel good. Like, I wanted to wear stuff that made me feel good, right? And that's what Lo Siento is like. It's a feeling. Lo Siento is like, I feel you. It's also a feeling, you know. It's like when I wear a piece, or when somebody wears a piece of mine that's one of one, the importance of it being one of one is that you go walk into somewhere and nobody has that piece that you have. That's a different type of feeling, in my opinion, because honestly, I hate, especially in Toronto, I mean, we walk around the streets of Toronto and you see everybody, you know, wearing the same type of stuff, or you wearing, like, you go on TikTok, you see oversaturation of the same stuff every single time, and that gets boring. You know, why wear something that everybody else has? Why not wear something that somebody doesn't have, or that they can't be replicated, you know? Like, in the sense was like, we're all one of one. Why not wear one of one stuff? Why try and fit into something that we're not, you know? So, yeah, man, that's another thing, like, just feeling cool, you know, just feeling like that guy every single time you're outside, you know. That's important. So
100%, man. That kind of just that street mentality of being on the street, looking good, like,
exactly,
standing out, individuality. Mm-hmm. Fashion has always been a symbol of that, like, individuality. Some people don't give a fuck.
No, some people don't. That's cool too, because that's their own individuality. Yes. You know, you can't ever shame that. Somebody who, you know, at the same time, it's like, yeah, you know, you can say everybody looks the same and stuff, but at the same time, it's like, hey, man, like, if you're wearing that and you feel good stepping into the house, then, you know, you feel good, then I feel good. Yeah. You know, it's cool. As long as, you know, you're not trying to imitate somebody or whatever. And then, you know, everybody goes through their phases, though. So, I understand it. So, but, you know, you can't knock anybody off what they're doing. Like, everybody, you know, they're out there, they're feeling good, you know, fuck it, bro. Wear what you want to wear. It doesn't matter.
Facts, exactly. You touched on Toronto fashion scene. You feel like you're a part of that community? You feel like you don't give a fuck about it? Give me your thoughts on that.
That's interesting. If for simpler terms, if I feel like I'm a part of it, no, not as much as I should be, not much as I'd say as I want to be, because I don't know, I don't want to like try to force myself into a box that maybe I don't fit in. But Like, I mean, I know all the people who are like run, like not run Toronto, but like run like the biggest faces of Toronto scene. Like, if we can name off people like, for instance, like Gigi, you know, Prescribed Shelter, Lonely, you know, all those type of guys. Like, I've really worked with like behind the scenes, and even years ago. Like years ago, I was helping like Gigi with his like pop-ups, and like I remember when he first came out with his masks, I was like one of the first people that were buying it from him. And you know, even like Lonely, I had an opportunity to get in contact with him through other people, and I worked for him for one of his workshops and stuff like that. And then, you know, people like Undone, you know, shout out Undone, man, shout out you, because he was one of the first people in the Toronto scene who was like, first of all, put me on, and then who was like making the most amount of noise before all like this, like, sorry to say it, but all this like corny shit decided to come up in the city, you know. So those are like, I feel like I'm in tune in those ways where it's like I feel like I know a lot of people and I know all the people and I worked with them personally, rather than like, oh, I just know them off Instagram or I just see them at events or whatever. Like, I really went and did like the dirty work. Like, you know, I really went to like, I remember I was just helping people out for their photo shoots. Like, I was just that kid there who just wanted to know. Like, I was just just watching, you know. And like, remember when I was helping Gigi with his pop-up shops, I was seeing how he was displaying his clothes, how he was like, I was there helping him iron all the garments and stuff like that. I was seeing how we were displaying stuff, you know. There wasn't a moment where I wasn't like absorbing everything that was around me. So I feel like I'm in tune with, like, in the sense of like, I feel like I'm known enough where like people know me, people know my face, that I can go out there, but not known enough as in establishment of my work. So that's something that I'm definitely trying to work more with this year, but I'm not so much forcing it because I know it's gonna come eventually. Like I'm saying, I'm known. It's just a matter of time where my pieces become known, and you know, stuff like that.
I think matter of time is the best way to put it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
The eventually, like, the good quality shit always breaks through. When is a different question, but I think that's the test as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I remember I was even having a chat with my girl about this like yesterday. I was like, yo, like, it's not what I think is, it's not about who's like dropping the hardest shit right now or who's selling out every single time or all this stuff. I think it's just about who can stay in the game the longest and who's going to be here for the X amount of years. Like, who's willing to put down 10 years right now into this stuff, or who's willing to just, you know, just come in and sell it a couple times and then leave. You know, so right now, like, I think that's what it's about. I feel like it's just who's gonna stick around the longest and who's gonna be, you know, be like 10 years in the game. Say I'm like 10 years from now, and then I'm still doing what I'm doing. It's like all of Toronto's gonna know me.
Facts.
You know, whether you like it or not, you're gonna know me because just how long I've been doing it, not because of you like me or not. You know.
Yeah, you're like, at this point you gotta respect it.
Yeah,
whether
exactly.
you like me or you fucking don't, you're gonna.
Whether you hate me or whether you love me, you know me because I've done it for so long. And sorry, you know.
Speaking my language, bro. Because you know what's funny? Like, we talked about experience, learning all this shit. You still can never, like, life has no answers sometimes. You can't predict this shit. But if you keep doing it, you know you're staying in the fucking game. Exactly. If you quit, you know you're done.
Yeah, you're never gonna know.
So that's the only thing where you know, like,
for a fact, if you stick it out.
Yeah, and that's completely up to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's just if you decide to wake up every single day and then continue to like put in the work, then it's inevitable that success comes like,
exactly, bro,
after hard work. So that's all you gotta think about.
You give yourself a chance. That's all you can. That's all you could do, bro. Give yourself a chance and let the fucking cards fall as they fall, man.
So the wind takes you where it takes you, and that's wherever you land up is where you're meant to land. You know, so.
I think so, at least, man. What the fuck do I know? But that's what I think, man.
Yeah, for sure.
What was your first piece where you felt like, oh, this is fucking gas?
This is gas. Honestly, what's funny is I actually a lot of times, I don't really like the pieces that I make. It took me a long time to become comfortable with what I was making and comfortable enough to show other people what I was doing. It even took me a while to feel comfortable wearing the stuff that I was making. Like, you know, when I first started making clothes, I was a rapper still, and I make, like, the purpose of making, like, cool types of clothes is because I wanted to go in the studio, or I wanted to go into, like, my little videos, and I wanted to look good. I wanted to have pieces that nobody had, right? So that's kind of how I tried to build up my confidence to wear my own stuff. And then once I had my own stuff, once I made my stuff look good on me, then other people were like, oh shit, like, where you get those jeans from? Or where you get that shirt from? Or where you get this from?
You're your own spokesperson.
Exactly. I was my own, like, and that's what influenced a lot. And that's why almost, like, at the beginning, I didn't really have, I wasn't like the type of brand that like have like a lot of models or a lot of people are giving out to a lot of artists. I wasn't relying on that, right? To be honest, I wasn't relying off the exposure and I was giving to artists because I knew that if anybody was gonna make my clothes look good, it was gonna be me. And like that's not on like, oh, like I can dress better than you, dress better than that. I just felt like it just like when I make something for me, it just looks like 10 out of 10. And
You
it's
know
like,
yourself.
exactly, I know myself, and I've worn fits that are like from me head to toe, and it's like I've almost sold each piece off my body just walking down the street. You know, so that's kind of where I like resided a lot of my stuff, and was from like relying on me and what I was representing for my stuff and things like that. So it took me a while, but after I you know got the confidence with stuff like that, especially to put a lot of my pieces out, it took a while, but damn, maybe what was my first piece that I was like, damn, this is gas? It was probably the Migo bags. The Migo bags, I love them. So this is a small like a small black Migo bag. Yeah, this is a small black version. Unfortunately, everybody took the bigger versions off me, which is good though. Which is good. Which was actually I never thought was gonna happen. I was something different that I made, and it was just like I had fabric, like this furry fabric. I was somewhere, yeah, it's poking out of there somewhere there. Yeah, it's at the top there. And I remember I just bought it because it's off clearance fabric. And then I remember I had everybody who came to the house, I had it lying down. And they were like, what are you going to do out of that, bro? Like, what are you going to make out of that? And even my parents were looking at it. They're like, yo, like, what do you think you're going to make out of that? Like, what are you doing with that fur? Like, this and that. And I'm just like, I'm going to make a bag out of it. And they're like, they all looked at me like really funny every time. They're like, what? You're going to make a bag out of it? And they're like, oh. All right, man, like, do whatever you're gonna do, like, shit, like, you know, like, I'm not gonna do you, right? And then I'm like, oh, don't worry, man, like, don't worry, like, I'm gonna make something cool out of it. And then I remember I just, like, I wanted to express something. I wanted to, like, it was my first piece that made me realize that I was, like, that I wanted to make clothes that really meant something. And the reason why I named it the Migo was because it's short form for amigo. So amigo is friend in Spanish.
Yep.
Right, so it was supposed to be like, if you I can show you a picture of like we'll put a picture of like the actual bag. It actually has arms going from each side of it, and it's supposed to resemble the arms of like a friend. It's like almost like hugging you.
Oh, okay.
Right, that's so it's almost like it was like a comfort type of feeling inside of a bag. It was like everywhere you go, you have a friend with you.
I like everywhere that. And you like go, the material is comforting. Well.
Yeah, that's why that material drew me. Yeah, like exactly, because it's like, oh, it's like a pet. Like you want to like you want to like feel it, or you want to like it's a comforting thing to look at it, and just comforting thing to see. So I'm like, it just went well, and that was kind of like the meaning behind that, and that was like the first piece that I made, and I was like, okay, like, you know, this is like something statement, something that's me. And then honestly, as a designer, like looking back now, it's like I'm very proud that I have like a piece. It's very hard for designers, especially like people are like sometimes 10 years in the game looking for a piece that nobody's made before, or a piece that they can call it their signature piece. And you know, I was lucky to find that very, very like early on. Like nobody at that time, nobody's made a Migo bag. Right. Nobody made a fur bag before, or not maybe before in the world, but I'm talking about like maybe in like Toronto or whatever. Like nobody made like this fur bag. That was a one-on-one thing that I did, and that became like a signature thing for me. Now whenever people go, they know that bag. To be honest, like people even ask me about that bag all the time now, because I never officially dropped it. Right, I just put it out, and then people decided to hit me up and wanted like their own personal ones off there. So that was like my first like piece where I was like, yo, like this is different, this is cool.
I love it, bro. I mean, all your shit and I will show them all off in a bit. It all has a unique stamp on it, which is, man, again, you got something, bro. You got something, that's for sure. The fashion world comes also, it's attached with the business world too.
Yeah. Selling
your pieces, sourcing materials, everything in between. How has that part of the journey been for you?
Bro, that part has been pretty difficult, I'm not gonna lie, because I didn't go to school I didn't go to school for fashion. Like after high school, I didn't go back to school. I kind of went to work after that. But yeah, like the business side is something that I'm learning like just recently. Like, you know, like saying like wholesaling to like companies or like people who are gonna buy your clothes for a bigger quantity, or like things like having seasonal wear, doing like autumn winter drops, spring summer drops, like applying it more to like a curated audience and stuff like that, maybe looking more corporate, and so you're more sellable to like higher up people and stuff like that. So I'm just learning about that side of stuff. But like the finances and like the way to like kind of keep it going for myself is also another difficult thing, because everything that I've done comes out of my own pocket. Like I don't have like unfortunately not yet, but now that I'm learning about business stuff, I'm gonna like apply myself for a business like name and stuff like that, and have like my own rights, and be able to like maybe in the future like apply for like loans and stuff like that, so to use it for my advantage and stuff like that. But as of now, and as of like everything that I've done, it's all been out of my own pocket. So it's really just been me working from job to job to job to job to job, and spending all my paychecks and putting it back into what I'm doing, and then sometimes seeing it, sometimes not. But what I'm really happy is like kind of what you touched on before, is that I like $1 never really put a smile on my face. It was kind of just going out and seeing people's faces and people's reaction to my stuff, and I don't know if that's like a naive way of looking at it and stuff like that, but I know that at the end of the day I walk away with $1 million in my pocket, I feel like. So facts. I'm never upset about it.
I don't think it's naive as possible, man, because it's showing that you have a true passion and love for this shit. That's the only way you could fucking do this. Yeah. If you really care about it. If it's just a quick lick, and I mean, we all know when the companies out there that are just in it for no, for fucking sure. Alibaba.
Yeah, super easy fucking, to tell. Sure.
Yeah. Cool, man. There's nothing to that. You're not making any noise with that. No. When you do shit like this and you put your heart into it and you take fucking financial hits, bro, that means you're really here, man.
Yeah, going broke after time again, just keep putting it back into it, keep, putting it all in, losing it all, doing all this stuff over and over again. It's a lot.
I feel like an accountant would hate what we're talking about right now, but real art is shit, man.
My mom's gonna hate what I'm talking about.
Fuck, where'd that Christmas money go, man?
So, you know where it went, Ma. Come on.
Yes. But yo, I mean, I really feel that way. Like, how the fuck are you gonna just be in it for making money? Like, because then it'll take away the soul of it. Yeah. The money should be kind of like after you hit, it starts to roll. That's how I see it.
No, and people become like it's a bitter mindset, and you can tell with the people, and I can tell with the people who I've been in the rooms with, who own brands, and then they're like, "Fuck, man, like I didn't sell any pieces today. Like shit, like this is that," and I'm like, "Damn, bro, like." I'd hate to be you right now. Yeah. Like I look at you, I'm like, I'd hate to be you right now, because you're in the wrong field. Because this isn't for people who are like you. This is for the people who are down to put everything they have just because they like this is what they love and this is what they want to do, and this is because this is what they're good at. For me, it was like a matter of finding something that I was good at. Like, as a kid, like I've always wanted to find that thing that I was good at. Like I played sports my entire life, and it's like I looked at the people who were playing sports and like, damn, like I wish I could be good at this. Like, like I remember I made teams, and like I played like academy league soccer, and I played like, divisions basketball, and I was like, fuck, like I wish I could dunk. Or like I wish I could be that guy. I wish I could be good at this. And not to say that you can't be good at something, but it's like I wish I could find my thing. Yeah. And then it's like finally when I found my thing, like which was this, I realized that not anybody else can do this, and especially certain pieces that I make, like it's like it's true that not anybody can make like the pair of pants that I make, or not anybody can do that. And once I realized that, I'm like, hey, this is my thing. Like this is what I'm actually good at. That took some time to like set in. And when I'm going back to what we were talking about, like going and like seeing like pop-ups and seeing people who are bitter and seeing people who are doing it for the money, it's like, yo, this isn't for that. Like, exactly. No, this is for the people who are really loving it, and it's people this is almost all they got. Like, it's almost like an insult when you come up and like this isn't what you're supposed to do, to the people who are really doing it for real. Like, but I mean, I just close my mouth and just keep with what I'm doing too. So it's it is what it is.
Those guys will just like exit the game, like we're talking about. Yeah. Like you don't even have to worry about them. They'll just fuck themselves.
Yeah, they'll just filter out over time. Filter out, man. Yeah, literally.
This very legendary music producer, he just passed away, and I was rewatching some old interviews of him, and he was talking about music, but you can apply it to any business. He's like, if you truly love making music, you don't need to be part of the music industry. The music industry is a business. And if you just get into the music industry for making money, well, but if you love making music, you would make music forever. Exactly. And I feel like it kind of applies to what you're doing, what I'm doing, what anyone's doing, where it's like, you don't want to blow your brains out financially, but if you really love doing it,
is not gonna take as much of a hit as if it would if that's all what you're focused about. Not for sure, definitely, and you know that's a big aspect of what you have to understand. It's like almost with anything, is what are you willing to put down and what are you willing to get out of it, and how much are you willing to put into it, you know. And that's really that's important, man. Like, you know, that's really what it comes down to, for sure.
Sweat equity.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Blood, sweat, and tears in this shit, man.
No, definitely, most definitely.
So yo, let's talk about some of these pieces, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I love what we got here. Let's start with the denim stuff. You're big with the denim too.
Yeah, I love the denim. I think I just love reworking pieces. Like I love for instance, like a lot of my pieces, almost all of my pieces are all like vintage pieces, per se, or secondhand pieces. They're all pieces that have been worn before, and a big reason for that is I choose to, like, instead of like remaking something brand new, why not fix something that's already exists and make it better? You know, like bringing back old pieces and bringing them back to life and giving them a whole new purpose. Like, you know,
I love that.
You know, like, and then like dyeing it and giving it a different color and then giving it a different type of feeling, texture, and all that stuff. It's almost like where I really got inspired to like really renew clothes and stuff like that was my dad. So my dad, he does a lot of restorations of old cars, and he's like a really old car head, you know. And I always seen him bring these old like cars, like were pieces of shit, like, you know, had grass growing out of them, and then just in the summertime he would just redo it and then have that thing like almost brand new and have people be like, what the fuck, like how did you do that and why did you do that when you could just buy a new car? You know, he always like, that's what really like motivated me to do this, because now it's like, to me, when I get like an old pair of pants, it's like an old car for me, right? You know, it's like, what can I do this and how can I make it better and what can I, like, you know, bring it back to life, you know, same thing that he used to do. So yeah, man, this is really what I'm like, my kind of like signature things that I've been doing is just really like the distressing of the pants, and then, you know, having the denim underlying with the studs, with the back and forth stitch all along the pants. You know, you can't really see it too well on camera, but man, yeah. But that's what I'm into as well. Like, I'm into the attention to the details with things like that. You know, I'm into the stuff that it's like, you might not see, you're not going to see this just walking by, but knowing that you're wearing the pair of pants and knowing that it was done like that is all you need to know. You know, so like this is, like, this pair of pants probably take me about a day or two of like really just sitting down, just, you know, just sitting down, no distractions, really just getting to it. Sometimes I want to take my time, like for these ones, for instance, it take me about like 4 or 5 days of just going back and forth towards different things. But honestly, like it's a look that you can't buy, so it's something that I don't mind putting my time into.
Oh, I love it, man. It's super fire. If I was a rapper, I'd be wearing those, man.
That's what I think too. I know. I'm like, yo, like I wish I knew something like me when I was.
This whole table looks like 10K Moss's fucking wardrobe, bro.
Next wardrobe, you're probably gonna see it on 10K Moss next time for sure.
I love that, and what this is beautiful too, man.
Yeah, like this is probably gonna be something that I'm gonna continue doing. Just now, it's the poncho line that I have going on. This is actually a piece of material that I brought back from El Salvador. So it's kind of like quilt material, like blankets that they almost make, that I just decided to cut up and then make into ponchos. I just like the colors with this one. I got another green one over there as well. It's just the material. I don't have like the poncho done just yet, but I just have the material laying around. So yeah, I mean, like that's kind of what it meant for me, like bringing like poncho that's, you know, like ancestral clothing to Ecuador, and then bringing like material from El Salvador, that my other side of my like heritage, and then putting it together and like putting it to use like that and making it one, you know.
I love it.
So that's
it's gorgeous, bro. I'm fucking hold this up.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's crazy, really, man. I love this.
Yeah, it even has like this on the outside of the hood, you know, that I added.
Gotta go. I want to go to that part of the world, bro. I've never been to Latin America.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Mexico counts, but it was a resort. I don't count that.
No, it's a beautiful country, man. If anybody ever gets a chance to go, it's amazing. Different than any other type of things that we're going to. So yeah, no, if you can go, definitely go. It's beautiful.
100%. Man, this shit is crazy. And this is a Guerrero shirt, right?
Yeah. So these are the Guerrero tees that I dropped like a couple of months ago now.
Definitely copping this blue one.
Yeah. So yeah, this is something small that I did. I did the design on myself. I do them all myself, anyways. Yeah, it's just an Aztec warrior, with like little stars on the
Is
side.
this is big part of Spanish
Yeah,
culture
so
too?
in El Salvador, this is like the ancestral like kind of stories behind it. There was a warrior who fought in like a lot of like famous battles to conquer the land, and Guerrero was the chief of the like the warriors that were fighting
Sick. I did not know that.
in those battles. So it was just something cool that I wanted to like retwist and kind of put it and make it look cool. Like, you know, like why not pay homage to like the ancestral work? Why not pay like homage to that? And, you know, why not like let's make it look cool on a shirt? Like, you know, that's kind of
Yeah,
cool. You know.
I love it, bro.
Yeah, and like little things too, like the little stars that I have on the side are actually the star clip stars that I had for my old brand. So that's something unique that I wanted to add into. Yeah, man, everything has meaning. So that was kind of like my thing with this. It wasn't a huge drop that I did. It was like a lot more exclusive, a lot more small that I decided to do just because it was something that meant more to me. So I kind of wanted to keep it a little more small and exclusive. So I like doing stuff like that for fun.
Yeah, I think that exclusivity shit is the way, bro.
Yeah,
like you build that, you generate that interest from supply and demand, man. There's not much of this. You come better, come get it.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, sometimes it doesn't work like that, but like I said, like I never get bummed out when I put stuff out and like, mind you, I put stuff out and nobody's ever bought it from me, you know. But then I hate it because I go out and everybody wants it, and I'm like, bro, I dropped it and nobody fucking bought it. But now I come out. But that's another thing, like going back to like when they see it on me or when they see it on somebody, they want to buy it because they see a look or they see how they can wear it or they see how it can be used. Like,
Right.
for instance, like the bag. It's like they just see a bag and like, oh, how the hell would I ever wear that Migo bag? Where would I wear fur to? You know, but then you wear it casually to go out on whatever and like, oh shit, like you can wear it casually. Like people just need to see it to really believe it, I think, you know. And that's kind of that's what I strive to do, you know. I hate like talking like, oh fuck, I'm gonna go crazy this year or this and that. Like, no, like I'm gonna show you.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say a word.
Talk
you know?
is very cheap, man.
Yeah, it's too cheap, you know. It's too cheap, you know. It's dirt cheap. So
facts. And you know, talking to you too, bro, like I get this really cool sense of this quiet confidence that you have, and a lot of people just don't have that in them, where they don't think they could pull something off. They don't think they could make this look good. They don't think they could accomplish it, where you have the exact opposite of like, no, I can do this and I'm gonna do it. And that's something where that'll take you a fucking long way, man.
Yeah, and that comes from like years of thinking that you can never do it. You know, so like hearing you say that, you know, it actually means a lot because like I was never that kid. Like I was always quiet. Like I never spoke a lot. I never had that confidence. Like, you know, like people used to tease me in school. Like, you know, I never made it on the high school teams. I was never like the coolest kid or whatever. Like, you know, so like it was always like I felt like I lacked the confidence. But then I became to a certain point, like when you get teased so much or like when you feel like you're like in like the darkness for so much or like when you feel like, you know, like you haven't had that confidence, sometimes you just wakes up and it's like, no, like I got it. Like, you know, I just have to prove it, or like I just have to like stop being this wimp, bro. Like grow up, like, you know, like snap out of it, you know. And I was grateful to have that. I don't know when that really kicked in for me, but I think that finding what I was good at definitely influenced me, like realizing that like maybe putting out my work and getting good feedback was like okay, like I can do this, or like this was like influencing me to show me that I could do it and that I was good at it, you know. So that was kind of like, I guess, my confidence booster. But also it's like that happens with anybody when they find what they're good at, you know. Then you're automatically gonna get your confidence from that, you know.
Man, I really relate to what you're saying. I really went through this myself too, bro. Like I feel like in high school, especially that high school time, you're in such a box a lot of the time.
Yeah.
At least that's how I felt. And
definitely,
you know, you kind of get a label on you, whether you're the coolest or whether you're the best looking, worst looking, like whatever, you're that. And then you leave that environment and you start to do shit on your own and you realize, wow, there's no rules to this shit. There's no like fucking labels.
You realize that life just isn't high school.
Literally,
you know?
Man.
I mean, unfortunately, a lot of people sometimes actually don't leave that mindset.
Yes.
But fortunately enough for the people who did realize that there is a life outside of high school. It is crazy, yeah. Especially for people who even go to university and college and stuff like that, who continue to go in and maybe go a little bit further away and then realize that life still is like that for them. But yeah, man, like life is not just high school, and then getting out of that period of time, it does help you find yourself as well. Because like you're saying, you do feel conformed, and you do feel like you're in a box because you see the same people every single day.
Yep.
And like I went to a Catholic high school, so we wore the same clothes every day. So it made me feel like I was in jail. You know, it's like not only do I have to hang around the same people every day, but we wear the same clothes, and I look at the same things every day. It's like, yo, I literally feel like I'm in jail. And that's why I literally refused to go back into a classroom after that, because I'm like, I'm almost traumatized. Because like this is a traumatizing experience. Like I'm not good at any of this stuff at this. I know I'm not going to be good at any of this stuff. I already know what I'm good at. Why am I here? You know, and that's a very interesting like topic to touch on. It's like a hard bullet to swallow, because it's like people's like, especially like coming from like immigrant family, like I'm saying, it's like thinking that that's the only way out sometimes, when it's like that can be very difficult for people who don't find what they're good at, you know. So
yes,
it's important.
School is an interesting thing. My mom was a lifelong school teacher, she was born here, but her parents were born in their home country, and like school is so serious in my house. But I was a kid, kind of like you, of you know, like standing out in school is bad. You know, the way you stand out in school is like by getting a good mark on a test.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not from like being cool, like
from being cool,
being yourself. Like they shit on that. So I always had a weird struggle with school, where it's like, and even now in my like corporate job that I do to pay the bills and shit, where it's like people are so afraid to be themselves and stand out, and I'm like, you don't, everything you achieve is not yours, because you're not being true to yourself.
You're not being true to yourself. You're achieving somebody else's goals, and you're a pawn to somebody else's bigger picture. And that's what really motivates me to want to do stuff for myself, is because like I've worked for so many other people. I've made so many other people so much more money than I've ever made. It's like I could be doing that for myself. Like, you know, like I worked for like small businesses. I worked for big corporations. I've worked in retail. I worked in like fast food. I worked in labor jobs. Like I've had a good taste of what other things are like, and that's really what's made me push more for what I want to do, is because like I never want to go back to that, you know.
That's a great motivator, man.
Yeah,
because you know what too, like the further you go in that world, I see it a lot now, like the people that are CEO or like they're not bosses, like they're not, they didn't create this company. They're promoted continuously because they followed the rules. It's not like they built the shit. No.
They're just being used to do what they need to do. I know it's but I mean, like, shit, man, like
you gotta pay the bills too, bro.
Exactly, you gotta pay the bills. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Don't let me get on a corporate tangents, bro.
Definitely
Fuck.
not. No.
But you know what, I like to talk about that shit because it, again, those guys could be very well paid, but it doesn't mean they're creating anything. It really doesn't mean they're making much happen. It's, you know, there's many different sides to life. Yeah,
and half the time they're extremely miserable with their life, and they're going home and they're pissed off, and they're like putting it out on the people who don't deserve it, you know. And that happens a lot, and it's sad, but like, you know, like you say, man, like bills gotta be paid, so one way or another, you know. But I mean, I feel like everything is still in your hands. I feel like to a certain extent,
bro.
Like, you know, you can always, there's always more you can do. There's always things that you can do to get your head out of the game, and you know, there's always things that you can do. Like, you know, like I don't know, me specifically, I'm always gonna have that mentality just from seeing what I've seen and knowing what my people, like my family has done. Like, you know, just coming out of countries like that, it's like, yo, like you can really go from having absolutely nothing, like living in the literal mud, and like coming from the actual dirt, to now having a house with 2 floors and owning cars and stuff like that, and even owning property, and being in a country where you have rights, you know, and being in a country where you can walk outside and not have to look over your shoulder, where your family members aren't dying and stuff like that, you know. It's, and so that I'm always gonna have that mindset with like almost like anything is possible, and you can really do anything, you know. Like as maybe as cliche as it may sound, I feel like I'm always gonna be able to believe in that just because of what I've seen, you know. So cliches are the realest shit ever. I mean, it's a cliche for a reason. And I agree. I have no argument for me, bro. Nothing more powerful than the strong-willed person. Yeah, no, definitely, for sure. Fuck, bro. Time flies, man. We're at an hour. Yeah, eh? Time fucking flies. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about when we came in here? Promote anything you want to get off your chest, bro, that we didn't cover? No, not specifically, man. I feel like I just came in here and my first interview, you know, I'm extremely grateful. Like I just to be able to have the opportunity to speak, you know, and have other people listen, you know, that's a great opportunity, and I'm definitely not taking advantage of that right now. So you know, I'm just happy to be able to speak. I'm happy to be heard, and you know, I'm happy to be here, and I'm gonna, you know, continue to do stuff that hopefully will be more acknowledged and more people want to hear about. So.
Bro, I'm so excited to see where you go. I know it's gonna be a fucking awesome journey, and very, very proud of you, bro. Like
Thank you,
for you
man.
to achieve all this in not a long amount of time at a
Yeah.
very young age. Like
Mhm.
fuck, man, you're on a real good path, bro. I'm
Thank
not
you,
just
man.
saying that. Like
Yeah, no, I
you're
really
doing good
appreciate
shit.
that. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I definitely don't take things like that for granted like that. I really appreciate those. So thank you, man.
My
Thank you.
pleasure, bro. Where do the people find you? What you got coming up?
All right, people can find me at No Designer on everything. You want to follow the brand, Siento Ropa on Instagram, TikTok as well. We're starting up that TikTok wave right now, trying to get up there. Um,
I gotta
yeah,
follow you on
man.
TikTok.
Other than that, just find me outside Toronto. I'm usually somewhere with the guys, doing
Yes.
making some moves. So, hey, man, you see me, you see me.
No Designer, bro. I appreciate you,
I
man. Thank you
appreciate
for
you,
having
man.
me in here.
Of course,
Love what you
it's a
got going
pleasure.
on. You're gonna see this in the video very shortly, man. I love the color. Versatile
Bro,
Vigilante. Let's fucking
bro.
get it, man.
Let's
Shout out to
go.
the whole East End too, man.
Let's
No
go.
losses, straight to bag. Let's fucking get it.
Let's go.